My husband went to work like every other day. He said goodbye, he said that he loved me, and then that was the last thing that he'd ever said. And 2 hours later, he was dead.
We thought we were invincible, never thought it would happen to us, and we had that mindset that it'll happen to somebody else. So it's not something that's at the forefront of your mind. You're always concentrating on what you're doing and hang the repercussions of what you are doing, I think, at the time.
Despite continuing improvements in safety and health, our industry, by its very nature, can be more hazardous than most. And sometimes, those hazards turn into the reality of people being badly hurt or killed.
I never thought I'd be in this position. I never thought that my husband would die at work. We'd always heard about people in the mining industry dying. We thought that never happened to us, so it never crossed our minds. 4 years later, I'm still fighting legal battles. I'm still dealing with financial stress, and I'm still trying to raise my daughter. She's 5 now.
Miners Promise is an independent, not-for-profit organisation created to support employees of the Australian resources sector and their immediate families following a crisis event, such as serious illness, accident or death. Miners Promise is more than just a financial benefit though. It's very much a comfort at the time of greatest need. In the same way members of the defence and police communities take care of their own, Miners Promise looks after its members when tragedy strikes. It's mateship in its most practical and useful form. It's mates looking after mates.
At the time of my husband's accident, there was no initial support at all. The company offered me some money, and then there was nothing afterwards. No support, no emotional support, nothing for my daughter or myself.
As the sole breadwinner, in my case, it was how do I provide for my family now going forward? If something goes wrong, someone gets sick, how do I help? Because I was basically helpless. They were the major challenges. Also, the long-term financial impact that it was going to have on the family. We've been earning a fairly substantial wage, and that basically came to a halt. And the things that we were used to just taking for granted, I suppose, all of a sudden stopped, and it was really the uncertainty of just not knowing what the future actually held.
I think if I'd had Miners Promise when I suffered the loss of my husband, I think I'd be in a much better position than I am now.
Miners Promise provides members with financial assistance to cope with daily living costs, rent or mortgage payments, car loans, or funeral, travel and accommodation costs where necessary. But the help doesn't end there. We also offer customised emotional and practical support, can help advocate and liaise with government and agency departments on your behalf, organise help with household chores or maintenance, arrange transport needs, source legal assistance. Help can also extend beyond this initial time where the most intense support is needed. At Miners Promise, we stay in contact with our families for as long as they need us. It's all part of our promise that no family or partner will ever go forgotten or left behind.
After the loss of my husband, I was very angry, in shock. And if I'd had Miners Promise to help me, I think a lot of the stress would have been alleviated.
Miners Promise is open to anyone from 18 to 65 working within the resources and resource services sector in Australia. You don't need to be working on a mine site or offshore. You could be working at a desk in a metropolitan or regional centre and still contribute to and benefit from Miners Promise. If you are directly or indirectly involved in the mining or oil and gas sectors in Australia, then you can join. Miners Promise isn't just for work-related accidents either. It's there anytime, anywhere. We know this because we've already been there helping provide immediate support and ongoing help for those left behind. Accidents can and do happen to anyone.
The Perth mining bosses were due to fly home to their families today, but their lives ended tragically in thick African jungle when their charter plane crashed during a flight to inspect an iron ore mine on Saturday.
John Jones was one of the founding board members of Miners Promise. He knew the kind of support resources industry people needed. He helped set up the structure of our organisation.
The resources sector is the strength of our economy, and the strength of the sector is the men and women who work in it at all places, mine sites, offshore, in offices, wherever. Some work in challenging, more inherently dangerous places, others not so. But such is the uncertainty of life that we know tragedy can strike anywhere, anytime without warning. That's why it is important for all resources workers to be in Miners Promise, so when the worst happens, members and their families will have someone to help right by their side. They will never be alone.
Miners Promise works independently of companies, unions and government, but we also work with them. We have the committed support of many of the mining industry heavyweights. Miners Promise is a not-for-profit organisation. We aren't here to make money. We're here to share it, to pass it on to family members, if and when a tragedy or crisis event strikes.
See if you can dispel the notion that it's not going to happen to you, because it can happen to you.
Whether you have children or a partner depending on you, or you're a single person wanting to make sure your parents, brothers or sisters will have someone to support and assist them if something happens to you, we encourage you to make the Miners Promise. Hopefully you'll never need it, but someone's family will. Might be your mate, might be someone you've never met, but it might also be you. Whoever it is, we will be there to help. That's the Miners Promise.